Thanks, Steve, and afternoon to everybody. Happy Election Day for all of you. I'll just take a minute and look back a little bit over the weekend, and then we'll talk about Michigan State a little bit in our preparation for them. Just like Saturday, we're disappointed with the outcome of the last ball game. I think looking back, looking at the films, we saw some improvement in certain areas, and I think we have improved as a football team over 2 weeks. I think we have the potential to become a good football team, but certainly there's work to do right now. We stand here right now. We've had 2 one-possession losses, and it's like any one-possession loss. There's a handful of plays either game or in both games to really decide the difference between winning and losing. And typically it's in all 3 phases, but that certainly was the case again on Saturday. Like any game, it's a team effort, so it's a team win or a team loss, and the bottom line is, I think, all of us can find ways to do things a little bit better, whether it's coaching, any one of the phases, offensively, defensively, special teams. That's where our focus has to be. So I think our guys have done a lot of good things over the past, 6-7 months. Certainly very unusual circumstances, unusual times. I think the guys have handled it well, day by day, week by week. And I think where we stand right now is that, what we need to do is just keep pushing forward and see what we can do to try to get over on the winning side of things. And it just gets down to really focusing again on improvement. That's every practice, every day, not looking too far down the road and really doing a better job of the details. That's really, I think, what we need to be doing right now as we move forward. So as it stands right now, we're an 0-2 football team. Nothing about that feels good. Why would it? But our focus, our encouragement to our players is to focus on the remaining 80% of the season. There's a lot of football left. And I think all of us know that we need to play better. Hopefully all of us realize we can play better, and that's really our goal as we push forward. Excuse me. Moving on to Michigan State, we still have the same 5 captains this week. So it'll be Golston and Neiman on the defensive side, Sargent and Linderbaum offensively, and Keith Duncan will be our special teams captain. Injury-wise, had a couple guys banged up a little bit on Saturday, like you'd expect in a game, but I think everybody's got a chance to be ready to go this week. So we'll see how the week plans out. We've only been on the field one practice so far, so that's kind of where that stands. And as we look towards Michigan State, certainly a lot to talk about with them. First of all, we haven't played them in a couple of years, and they obviously have a new coaching staff. Coach Tucker's done a great job up there in short time. Again, talking about crazy circumstances for a new staff. I think they've done a wonderful job already. And, it's been a few years since we played them, but, we I think are fairly familiar with a lot of their personnel through recruiting, through watching them on crossover film, that type of thing. So, that's not totally new to us. Obviously, they're coming off a really big win, a great win for them against an in-state rival. That's always a big thing, a trophy game. So they certainly played well last week, deserved the win. And the big thing is, I think that they're playing well and they're playing hard for the new staff. So things are really kind of coming together very well for them. No question about that. So the other obvious thing, just very apparent from the game the other day for them, they made a lot of big plays, especially in the passing game. The quarterback, receivers really had a big day. And that was really the story of the game that really made them, gave them a chance to be victorious and a great effort. So we got a big challenge in our hands. We realize that fully, and need a good week of practice, a different week of practice, certainly. It's interesting, if you count this week, 4-week block, we have 3 weeks that are going to be different. So, this is the first of those 3 that are a little bit unusual, and we just have to make the adjustment. And it's not like, same thing for all the opponents we're playing in those weeks. So that's a challenge that's ahead. Hopefully have a great week, and we're looking forward to getting back on the field on Saturday. I'll throw it out for questions.
If you have a question for Coach Ferentz, please raise your hand in the participant button at the bottom of your screen, and we will work our way down the lineup. First question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Kirk, in what ways is your preparation altered this week? Have you decided to move your Tuesday to Wednesday and Wednesday to Thursday, or have you changed anything dramatically from what you usually do?
Yeah, probably like most college teams, we work pretty hard on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. That's our heaviest lifting days, if you will, on the practice field, and then you start to taper back. So I think that's the biggest thing. Is today would have been a really more of a heavy day, heavy practice day, if you would, and we don't have that opportunity. So, we just had to slide things a little bit, and we'll taper off at the end of the week just because of the close proximity of the game as opposed to working today. So, it is what it is, and it just it is what it is, and we'll deal with it.
Next question from Chad Leistico.
There we go. Hey, Kirk. With what happened with Amir the other night, the 2 transfers last week, another transfer today, and Calvin Lockett, what does that give you pause for any reason, those kind of chain of events?
Yeah, I think I'd look at them all separately. Basically 2 categories right now. You have 3 guys that have decided to transfer. Me personally, not totally shocked, disappointed. I was hoping all 3 would stay at the team. I think there are 2 commonalities with all 3 of the players. They're all from distance. They're far from home, and I guess maybe another commonality. They're all fairly young players. Locke's a little bit older than the other 2, but they're a distance from home, so that's part of it. And I think the other similarities, all 3 weren't in the too deep either the first 2 weeks. And but all that being said, it's disappointing because all 3 of them were doing well. They're all good people and good players, and I think have good potential. Shadrick Bird made a play on our kickoff team in the first game. So that came as a little bit of a surprise, but not totally. If you look around the room, he's got some other guys that are pretty good too. So, I think probably the biggest thing, a lot of times this type of action happens more so after spring practice when, you go through 15 days and I think it becomes a little bit more apparent what the roster looks like, who's in the too deep, who isn't, what has to take place. So I'm not so sure this is a real unnatural thing. It's just the timing. I would attribute it to just what's happened over the last 7+ months, not having spring practice. But nonetheless, we don't want any player in good standing and good guys to leave the football team. But that's their choice too, and you don't want them here if they're not totally invested either. So that's not a good thing. Then Amir's incident's a separate incident. We haven't had many of those over the last however many years, and it's very disappointing. Amir's very remorseful. I think he fully realizes, just the potential danger of the situation first and foremost, not only to himself but other people. And it's just a regrettable decision that he made. So he'll deal with it. I've known Amir for 4+ years right now. He's a tremendous person. He's been a great team member, and me personally, I think it's very uncharacteristic of him. It was surprising, but it's something he did. It's a bad decision, and it's like all of us in life. You make a bad decision, you have to live with it and try to push forward and look forward. And I think he'll do that. That's my sense right now, but we'll see how things pan out.
Next question from Jeff Johnson.
Yeah, hi, Kirk. Can you talk about what you've seen on from Rocky Lombardi, maybe in the film that you've watched of him this season? And I understand you guys were very interested in him. How did you recruit him very hard?
Yeah, certainly. He's an in-state player, one of the better players in state, his senior year. And we actually ironically lost, I was trying to remember how many years ago, they had a good lineman at the same high school that went to Michigan State probably a decade ago now. So, they've recruited the state of Iowa in the past. I don't know if they will in the future. Rocky's a tremendous young player, tremendous young person. Was an outstanding competitor in a couple sports in high school. So we knew a lot about him. We tried to recruit him, and he's done a great job up there. Played pretty extensively a couple years ago when their starter was hurt. And he's certainly, like most players, he's a better player than he was 2 years ago. He's done a really nice job. And, they had some unbelievably, just great big plays the other day that really made a big difference in the game. So he's doing a good job. And you lead your team to a big win like that against a in-state rival. That's a big deal. So, credit goes to him on that one.
Next question from Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Kirk, looking back to your first year here as head coach, was that a bigger challenge for you because of who you were replacing? And how did you handle that challenge of being the guy that replaced Hayden Fry?
Bigger than what? Just taking over any program is a big challenge. And obviously, this situation, I was familiar with it because I'd worked here for 9 years under Coach Fry. So I looked at that as a probably a good thing, because at least I had a feel, at least I thought I had a feel for the program, the state, what it took to be successful. And I've said this many times before, a lot of my views and vantage points about, what it takes to be a successful college program were shaped because of Coach Fry. He had a tremendous impact on my life, and I was a young person at that time. So yeah, no question about that. And then as far as handling it, whether it's a legend like Coach Fry or somebody else, but especially in his case, I just felt like, the statement I made was, you can't, you don't replace somebody like that. You just follow them. And I think it's like anything you do in life. You just try to do it the best you can within the framework of your personality and your vantage points, and try to do the best you can moving forward. That's why you got selected for the job. And you just try to do what you think is best, but you have to be yourself. You can't, especially with a person like Coach Fry, with his personality and just all the traits that made him so unique and so special. To try to copy him, other than some of his beliefs, that would have been, I think, probably short-sighted.
Next question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, on Saturday, Kayvon Merriweather made a start at strong safety. It appeared that he had a pretty good game, had a tremendous hit. What was your thoughts on the way he performed, and do you anticipate him maintaining that position?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes as we move forward. A lot of it's just matchups and your opponent, what they do offensively, that type of thing. And then also, it's not just about Kayvon, although he was a factor in that, but it's about getting your guys in the best positions for them individually. So it's a little bit more of a complex equation. But we really feel good about Julius. We feel good about Kayvon. We feel good about Dane. And so it's a little bit of a luxury, I think, in that we've probably got 5 guys that we feel are starters, or 6 guys. Excuse me. So that's a good thing. This whole thing is very fluid, so we'll just keep pushing forward and see what takes place and what adjustments we have to make. But Kayvon in particular, I'll just say this, I thought he got off to a good start. Then he kind of dipped a little bit. Thought he drifted a little bit, just his focus, his concentration. And then he's really come back and done a really nice job, and not just the last couple of weeks, but over the last couple of months. Like you could just see him hitting stride and growing into the kind of player we thought he might have a chance to be. So just pleased with his growth and progress. And I can say the same thing about Julius. I can say the same thing about Dane and the other guys, although, Dane really hasn't, dipped off at all. So, but anyway, it's been good to watch Kayvon's development.
Question from Tom Caker.
Hey, Kirk. Obviously, this is a strange year, different year for you guys. You get off to an 0-2 start. How do you kind of keep the team together? Because it could, obviously with the weird year, it could slide pretty quickly. And how's your leaders stepped up in this situation?
I mean, it could slide in any year. And, so this year is unusual, but we're dealing with it on a week-to-week basis, day-to-day basis. And, as you guys know, I tell stories. I've been around long enough to kind of gone through things that are similar to this at some point in your career, probably. And we were 3-0 in 2008, but pretty soon we were 3-3, and we were 0-3 in the conference. So that's probably the closest equation I could give you to this situation. It didn't feel very good being 0-3 in Big Ten play. It didn't feel real good being 0-1 or 0-2 that year either. But, that year ended up being one of the most enjoyable years I've ever had in coaching. And that team is one of the, not that you rank your teams or anything like that, but I just have nothing but fond memories about that team. And it goes right back to the point that you just made. It was all about our leadership. And it came from a lot of different places, a lot of different levels. But we were 3-3. We were 0-3 in the league. We had 3 one-possession losses straight. And that's hard. It tests you. There's a lot of, noise and, opinions on the outside, all that stuff. And it's all about, what we do internally. If our focus stays where it needs to be, and if it's, it never changes. It's all about trying to get better this week and see what we can do this week and play our best this week. So, that team bought into that philosophy, and they just kept pushing. And, we came out of it, got a big victory, then another big victory, had a disappointing loss, but they bounced back from that and pushed it right on through. So that's what I alluded to earlier in the comments. Just, I think it's technically 7-8% of our season is left. And that's according to Caleb Shudak. He's pretty good at math. So, that's what we're looking at right now. There's a lot of football in front of us, a lot of season in front of us. And what we need to do is grow and find a way to push this thing over the top. And all you got to do is look at our opponent. They did a great job of that week 1 to week 2 over the last 2 weeks. So that's, that's what the game's all about.
Next question from Eric Olson.
Yeah, Kirk, a couple quick ones. The first one, Amir, is his suspension just for this week, or have you decided on that?
Yeah, our standard team policy has been a one week suspension. He also has some athletic department protocol he'll go through. So I'm anticipating he'll handle that well. And he practiced on the scout team yesterday. He'll do that all week. So yeah, as far as I know, unless something unforeseen would happen or come up, then that'll be the plan.
And then my other question was, and I know you've been asked about home field and being a visiting team this year. I hope you'll indulge me in one. The dynamic of maybe visiting teams being a little more comfortable this year, and home teams maybe psychologically feeling a bit awkward with the empty stadium. Does that dynamic ring true with you, having been on the road now and played at home?
Yeah, we said that last week, and I think I made the comment I was a little bit more concerned about it being home than on the road to that point. So after being in both now, yeah, I'd concur with that. I think it's accurate. But all that being said, that's not what the game gets decided by, and it can be a crutch if you want it to be a crutch. Hopefully, nobody in our building is looking that way, and it's all about what we do on the field. It really is. It's about our production on the field, and how we play, the energy we have, and but we it's just smart to know going into it that it is going to be what it is, pretty quiet. And just like, if we were going into a hostile environment, you obviously want to be prepared for that. This year, that won't be as big a factor. And hopefully it's the last year we ever have to talk about that.
Next question, Chad Leistico.
Hey, just following up on Tom's question there. What have you seen? I know you didn't get practice today, but from the guys, as a response, you've commented in the past, and you've got good guys on the team. Do you feel confident that you will not lose this team, so to speak?
Yeah, you must know something. I don't know, Chad. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, our guys have been great. They were good on Sunday. Looking at the film, a lot of good things on that film. There are a lot of things that were painful. So it's like every game. But when you don't win, it's a little harder. It makes it a harder day. But they were great on the field yesterday morning. Thought we had a good workout, got a lot done, a lot accomplished. Good meetings last night, and I have no reason to think that they're not going to just keep pushing forward. And I have no reason to believe that. I think we have good players. I think we have good people, as I've said, and haven't seen anything to the contrary. And obviously coaches have little things they look at all the time and watch, and I'm seeing a lot more good than negatives, that's for sure.
Next question from Mike Halas.
Eric sort of asked part of what I'm about to ask, but when you see what's going on with Wisconsin and with Clemson's quarterback and so many things like this, and then when you come out of the tunnel at Kinnick and there's almost nobody in the stands, does this whole thing feel a little bit off to you, or are you so tunnel vision with football that you don't even think about it?
Yeah, when we come out of the tunnel, I mean, it's a strange feeling. It was different, certainly, and you'd have to be totally oblivious. I'm not that focused not to know that, but on the COVID thing, I think that's probably the biggest thing. And I actually saw an interesting article about voter stress somewhere in the last couple of days, and I'm trying to figure out what that means, but maybe I can equate it to COVID stress because there's definitely, it's taken on a whole new element. We test daily, as in the Big Ten, and I mean, when my phone, a little bing it makes when you get a text message from the trainer, I don't look forward to those anymore because you just don't know what's going to be on there. And I think, certainly you just look across the state border here, and it's just a good reminder. It's a constant reminder that this thing is just day to day right now. And I think we've all known that really at least since March, if not sooner. But it's very real. It's apparently not going away, at least not over the next. I've told our team, we just got to figure it's going to be this way till January. So you take it a day by day. You don't assume anything, and just hope for the best. Try to be as smart as you can, but there's nothing you can do to be 100% insulated from this thing. I don't think so. We all have to keep living, but we have to try to be smart. But yeah, it's a concern, certainly, knowing that something could happen at any time. You just look at any of the pro teams that are playing the pro leagues, and then certainly in college football, it's very real too. So it's just nothing about this year that's going to be normal. That's for sure.
Next question from Adam Hensley.
Hey, Kirk. This is kind of a two-part question, but I guess thinking back to last season, in what ways have you seen Davian Nixon improve, like his play on the field? And then also, how have you sort of seen him emerge as one of your vocal leaders on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, to me, football, especially college football, but I think football at any level is all about growth and it's all about development. And, every now and then, guys come in here and play right off the bat. That doesn't happen a lot. It's really uncommon. And last year in Davion's case, we had two guys that were seniors, both with, Reef and Lattimore in there. And not only seniors, but they were guys that, if you remember last year, I meant to comment about how well they had done that spring prior to their senior year. And I was concerned, just about their consistency level of both those guys. And then they had great springs, not good springs. So going into the season, we felt like we really had two starters that we were really comfortable with and knew that we're going to do a good job. And then Davian was coming up the ranks, and he got to play a lot last year, but he certainly has grown. He's practiced well, and I think he's played really well in 2 games. And he clearly has worked his way into a starting role, where he's impacting our defense in a positive way. And it's the same thing off the field. So that's just good to see. And that's if we're going to be a good team, we need those kinds of stories on both sides of the balls and both on special teams as well. That's just how teams come together and and they grow.
Next question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Kirk, you've been through the league, 20 years worth here, and used to be an 11-team league where you played Wisconsin and Minnesota every year and everybody else 6 times over 8 years. Then you didn't play Illinois for several years, Wisconsin a few years. Here you are with Michigan State, and there for a while you guys had a tremendous rivalry, I would say, year in and year out when you were part of the Legends division. What is it like to be in this league where some years you're playing teams every year and other years you're not? And what's kind of your thoughts about the Spartans Hawkeyes rivalry over the years?
Yeah, to your point, that thing went all the way back to when I was here as an assistant in the 80s. We had some great games, through the years. So it was just one of those traditions. But I'm sure it's not unique to our conference, but just college football. I think one of the most impactful things that's happened since the 80s or 90s is expansion. And, it really has taken place in this century. So, the big expansion, Penn State joined the league back in the early 90s. But when things started shaking that way, not only in our conference, but across the country, that's when a lot of the norms or a lot of the things you were used to, those year in and year out rivalries, went out the window. And the Illinois series would be the one that really impacted me because I think that whatever year we picked them up, we hadn't played them since 08 or 09, something like that. And it's kind of strange for a school that close to us. So, but I think it's just, it's reflective of what's going on in college football. And, it's a reality of the whole thing. So, the whole series is taken on a much different light. But all that being said, it gets down to being a conference game. It's extremely important this Saturday.
Next question from Chad Leistico.
Yeah, Kirk, couple position questions here. Who takes Amir's 52 snaps that he played the other day at Northwestern? Who steps up there? And also, you've still got Quick Kronk at right tackle. Is that accurate on the first team, or did Kallenberger unseat him on Saturday?
Yeah, so at the receiver position, obviously Amir's not going to play. Tyrone Tracy is going to get more reps out of that. Charlie Jones, and then we'll go from there. But those 2 guys, are next in line for the most work certainly. And with the line position, we're hoping to start the same group we started last week. We'll just see how the week goes. One good thing is I think right now we probably have 7-8 guys that we're pretty comfortable playing. That's what we've been doing, and we'll just. No matter who starts the game, I would assume we'll keep rotating players through there and giving them all work because they've earned that that right now.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more. First from Tom Kakert, and then we'll finish up with Scott Docterman. So, question from Tom Kakert.
Kirk, wanted to ask about Spencer and how he's kind of handled things after 2 games. A tough spot for a young quarterback to come in and start 0-2. How has he kind of responded this week?
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I said back somewhere in the summer that, one thought I had based on the pandemic and just the situation, it'd be good this year to be, well endowed genetically. A team that's got genetics or experience is a good thing, and then certainly an experienced quarterback. So, we don't have an experienced quarterback. That is one thing that's a little bit different. I've referenced, we've had a lot of first-year quarterbacks have a lot of success. Those guys all had spring ball in a normal camp, going into the season. And they had the month of September to, kind of build up to Big Ten play, but that's not the case. So we're right in league play. Spring ball, nobody had it, or at least not many people had. I shouldn't say nobody. So those are the things he's working through, but I think he's doing a really good job. Had a couple tough series this past game in the second half, but I'm thinking back to 09 when James Vandenberg had was grinding coffee a little bit against Northwestern coming in for Ricky, and then a week later went to Ohio State and gave us every chance to win that football game. Played his tail off. So it's week to week. He's a young guy. He's quality. We all believe in him, and he's done a lot of good things already. And I think all of us are really confident he's just going to keep getting better as we go. And we're looking forward to seeing him play this Saturday.
Final question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about on your depth chart, Nick DeYoung was listed as the number 2 right tackle. I know he was a walk-on, but a pretty good athlete in high school at Pella. What has helped him vault into that territory, and how do things sit with him and say Mark Kallenberger, on the depth chart?
Well, Mark is our next tackle in, just for the record there, and then we've got Nick, we've got Jack Plum. Those would be our 5 guys that are playing tackle right now. But we think Nick's a good prospect. I kind of half smiled when you were talking about him because I think he was quarantined like 45 days this summer, something like that. And he needed to be training, but instead he was, I don't know what they do on quarantine, play video games or watch movies, Netflix, whatever. So it was unfortunate for him. But yeah, he's done a really good job. He's kind of quietly just done some good things in practice over the last 2 years here. We're very impressed with him. I think he's got a chance to become a good player here. I'm not sure he knows how much potential he has at this point, but hopefully he'll keep pushing forward. And that goes back to the pandemic thing. These quarantines were just killers. First of all, if this guy's sick, you worry about them. And fortunately, we really haven't had anybody that had any complications, nothing really major at all. But the quarantines, when guys just had to sit idle for 2 weeks, that just was hard. So, and Nick unfortunately got affected by that this year. It made his training hard, and just it's made the challenge a little bit tougher for him. But he's doing a good job. It's great to have him back on the field, whatever it's been now, 4 or 5 weeks, and just doing really, really well. So, yeah, we're excited about him, and we'll just see how things go.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. 11 a.m. tomorrow, same place. Have a great day.
Transcript, Chris?
Yes, transcript. You bet.
Thank you.
Send it out as soon as possible.